vanilla and toffee are dominant, really. Welcome to Whisky.com, where fine spirits meet. My name is Horst Lüning. I'm the master taster of Whisky.com, and today I present the first bottling of the Slyrs distillery from Germany, from Bavaria, from Upper Bavaria, Oberbayern, which is 12 years old. The distillery itself was founded in 2007. And now there's a little tricky explanation with this. There had been an old eau-de-vie distillery at the Slyrs in Oberbayern, where they produced, fruit distillates, high quality, high-end fruit distillates. And they have pot stills with a rectifier on it, I think 5 or 7 plates, which concentrate the fruitiness of a fruit distillate. And on these equipment, eau-de-vie equipment, they produced the first malt whiskey in the distillery, and the first distilling took place in 1996, and I was invited by the proprietor in 1997 to taste the first distillate, which matured for a year and a half, something like this. And it was extremely fruity and remembered of an eau-de-vie. In 1999, the first Slyrs single malt whiskey came on the market, and it was quite successful, so that the distillery decided to build a brand new whiskey distillery only for whiskey in the neighborhood of the old distillery. And there they had special equipment, not these eau-de-vie stills, but pot stills, not from Scotland, but from the southwest of Germany, in which they produce now a malt whiskey, which is in the taste quite near to the malt whiskies we know. The typical Slyrs whiskey, I think I took a video of it. I'm not quite sure if I've done in English language. Is 3 years old, 3 years and a day or a few weeks, I don't know exactly. And from the beginning, there are no casks left. So there were so few casks produced in a year, just 1 or 2, that all these supplies are gone. And now this 12-year-old is from 2003. There are only very few casks, if at all, more than 1, I don't know exactly, left. So there are only a few hundred bottles of this 12-year-old available. What's the specialty of this whiskey? Well, this one is matured in first fill American white oak, charred American white oak barrels. So they are close to a bourbon whiskey, but the different production method on pot stills give a different taste, more in the direction of a Scotch malt whiskey. But the taste comes from first fill American white oak, which is close to the bourbons, and that there is not such a huge taste transfer from the cask into the whiskey, to the maturing whiskey, that reduce the ABV with which they put the raw whiskey into the barrel. So not the typical 63.5 from Scotland, but only 55. Well, the Americans only drive 55. Yeah. Okay, so they extract less taste from the staves of the barrels, and therefore it is a complete different style of whiskey, an individual whiskey which is not that comparable with an eau-de-vie or with a Scotch single malt or a bourbon. It's a whiskey of its own. This one is from 2003, so it is still, or it was still produced on the eau-de-vie equipment and not the new pot stills. I found it, when I tasted it a few years ago, I found it very fruity, too fruity for a whiskey. Well, things changed, but have a look at this one. It's the first bottling. It's with 12 years. It's extremely expensive, around 300 euros here in Europe. And you will not have the chance, really, to get your hands on such a bottle. It is a real collector's item, and therefore they said they produce an extraordinary case for this one, or box for this one. It's produced out of a full wooden block. They milled it down. So the front, you can see the rings, it's exactly fitting here. And then they milled the inside out to make place for the bottle, all from a single piece of wood. And because this bottle is so expensive, they put a miniature in here so that you still have the collector's item in your collection and are able to taste this miniature. Wonderful idea. I've seen that a decade ago in Scotland. There had been such a bottling also with a miniature in. The bottle is very exquisite, not the standard bottle from Slyrs, high quality, and it's not colored, so you can see in 12 years what you can extract from a first fill. No, from first fill American white oak, not an ex-bourbon. That is first fill raw whiskey, but the very first was bourbon, which extracted a lot. This one is really fresh American white oak, toasted and burned, charcoal on the inside. So this is a lot of taste transferred from the cask into the whiskey. Whoa. Have I forgotten something? No, I don't think so. It's 43% ABV, so they diluted it quite a bit to increase the amount of whiskey available for the people. This is the second time I taste this whiskey, and in the beginning there was no strong taste of vanilla, but now with the second tasting in a quarter of an hour, vanilla and toffee are dominant, really. There's oakiness behind, woodiness, and a faint fruitiness, dried fruits, dark fruits. So this one looks very, very old. Older than it is. You can imagine this is a 20-year-old. Because you have in your mind a 20-year-old Scotch whiskey, which is matured in ex-bourbon casks, is not that intense because the first 3 to 4 years are taken out by the bourbon, and then the next 20 years go into the Scotch malt whiskey. So all the first aromas, this strong vanilla, this strong caramel, is already gone into the bourbon, and the rest is going to the Scotch. And this one is fresh wood. Oh, very intense. The oakiness is strong, really. And there are spices like cloves coming up, nutmeg, dark, intense, full, long aftertaste, and a little nuttiness, becoming stronger, like walnuts. One of the most intense single malt whiskies with 12 years old I had so far. Well, if you subtract those which are full loaded with sherry and port wine and muscatel and madeira and whatever, so straight matured whiskies I had so far. Yeah. I can't imagine having such a whiskey matured for more than 12 years. So 15 years, 18 years in this kind of maturation. In the meantime, the distillery is running with a steady output. 1 and 2 shifts they're running already. There should be a certain amount of refill casks available. Even third fills. And with those, I think maturation of 15 or 18 years is possible. But this one, going further, you lose all the distillery character and just have this intense American white oak character. Thank you for watching. There's more to come. Stay tuned and feel free to share your thoughts on our social media. Example